here at the Half Acre Homestead. We are in garden space number 3 today. I have little helpers wandering all around, so I'm sure you'll see them at some point in the video. Today, we're going to start transplanting some of our tomatoes into this space. Now, this isn't where all of the tomatoes are going to go. Only a handful are going to go here, between about 6 and 10 plants. And the reason that we're only doing some here is because this space has some of our best light as far as other things are concerned. So things like peppers and things like cucumbers that need a lot more sun, we're going to put those here because this space is unbelievable when it comes to sun. This space gets anywhere between 12 and 15 hours of sunlight a day, and as you can see, it is a direct sun, and it's a really good space for that, okay? So let's get started. I'm here with Asher, who's currently looking for bugs for me, and we are planting tomatoes, as he said. And what I have right here, this is a Roma variety tomato, and Romas are a real meaty variety.
Mama.
What?
I'm gonna kill it.
Okay, kill it. Get it. Okay. They're great for turning into sauces and salsas because they are a lot of flesh and not a lot of water. So I want you to look at this one, and if you look at it, it's kind of an odd shape, and that's because in the greenhouse it had fallen over to its side, and the plant had struggled to try to get back upright and to grow the correct way. A lot of the plants that we're planting today in this space are plants that have kind of had a little bit of an issue in the greenhouse. Some of them may have experienced some broken limbs. So what we're doing with these ones is we're going to put them in this space, and hopefully we can get them to survive. And these numbers we're not going to estimate into our year total. Because we are growing a year's worth of food here at the homestead, and so these ones really are going to be, if they survive, they survive, and if they don't, they don't. They're not going to make or break our food total. Okay, so let's get started. As you can see, it's very, very moist. That is because I have pre-soaked it in warm water. Pre-soaking it kind of gives its roots a little bit of
helping water.
Yes, water does help their roots, huh? It kind of makes it a little bit easier to remove the, or separate the bottom of the cup. We're going to show you step by step with each one. Everything is a little bit different. And so what you're going to do is you're going to remove the bottom set of leaves. So that one was right about here at the bend, and I'm going to remove this one as well.
Hey, Ma, look what's under the ground. What is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's cool looking. It looks like some type of seed. All right.
Oh, do I have to put it back in?
No, it's okay. All right, so I'm gonna dig down.
I'll help.
Okay, you wanna help? Good. Okay. And it's gonna go a little bit deeper. We ultimately want to be able to bury up to about where that first set of leaves were. Oh, don't pull it out that way too far, okay? All right, so you can see that I can kind of fit my entire fist down in there, and we'll put it back down and we'll give it another check. And we're gonna, yep, and we're gonna bury it up to about where that bend is, hoping that by covering up to that bend, that we'll be able to get it to kind of fix itself.
Mama, something good off the seed.
Wow.
Something good off my seed.
And ultimately, I'll come back down here a little bit later with popsicle sticks and some twine, and hopefully we'll be able to stake it up just enough to get it to start growing straight again. Good job. So this next variety that we're going to be planting, this is a jelly bean tomato, and it is a variety of a cherry tomato. They're very, very small. And we had talked about the mesh. So as you can see, there is this slight mesh layer on them. And by soaking them, it really gives us just the ease of being able to kind of peel it off like that, okay? And I'm gonna leave this popsicle stick with it. I'm gonna take it out for now and just put it right over to the side. And again, to show you, these two leaves right here that you can see are very kind of yellow and faded looking. These are the first two leaves that the tomato plant actually gets. So we're just gonna take these and we're gonna just remove them right off. And as you saw in the video, I pre-did my rows, and each row is gonna get 2 tomato plants. So I'm gonna dig right down into the row as best as I can, and taking out whatever rocks I find during it. I always say it's amazing how you can garden and garden and garden the same space every year for years at a time, and still it's almost as though they just grow rocks themselves. Okay, so we're gonna put it down into the hole, and we're gonna bury it right up to those leaves. Okay, and we're gonna make a nice kind of mound for it, and we're just gonna pat it down nicely. And you can see that this one didn't have the bend that the other one had, so it is standing up nicely. But I'm still just gonna put that popsicle stick right there to kind of help stabilize it while it's little. Okay, let's move on to our next plant. Now we're on to the beefsteak tomato, and we have several beefsteak tomatoes planted. We did a whole segment on organic beefsteak tomatoes, which we will continue later because, of course, in maintaining their organic integrity, we need to keep them organic by not planting them in this garden space. And the reason that is because this garden space has had the use of synthetic fertilizers in it in the last 3 years. So once again, it's been soaked, and you can see that this peat pot is just completely melting away. Now, the thing about peat pots is you could plant them directly with the peat pot, and I will show you that with the next one that we do that's in a peat pot. But for this one, we're not going to. And one of the reasons is because this one was actually helped seeded by one of the kids during Future Growers. So there are actually 6 different tomato plants here. Really, there's 7, but this one is very broken, and even though it is showing new growth right there, I'm not satisfied with the amount of new growth, so I'm gonna remove that one. And I'm actually gonna try my best, rather, because when you are splitting plants, you could damage the root system. So I'm going to try to maintain the root system the best that I can, and actually split this into 2 separate stacks with 3 each.
Here you go, Becky. Here you go, Mama.
Put it down.
No, they're my
Again,
seeds.
I'm going to remove those bottom leaves from the 2 that are larger. One of them is a much smaller plant.
Hi.
That would be Jonah, if you've all met him on Future Growers. Okay, and down we put them. And again, that nice mounding process, trying to get as many of these roots out of the way as we can, which isn't going to be possible to get them all out of the way, but we're going to get rid of what we can. Okay? Easy.
I am.
Thank you. Let's move on to our next one. So this one again is in a peat pot, and for this one I'm going to show you how to keep it in the peat pot and plant it. Now this is going to be the last one I actually share with you, even though we still have a couple more to do, but it's going to be a lot of. So rather than bore you with planting several tomatoes and showing you each one individually, this will be our last one. So if you're going to be leaving a plant inside of its peat pot to plant, this is very good for the plant's transplant survival. It actually does help reduce transplant shock quite a bit. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna moisten the cup and you're gonna peel the bottom layer off. When you do this, you are gonna be able to see all those little roots in there that are doing quite nicely. I like to peel off about a half an inch to an inch of the cup on the bottom, just to ensure that we're not stunting the roots at any point. Okay. And all of that peat pot that you just peeled off, you can dig your hole. And you can actually just toss those right into the hole. Peat pots are biodegradable and they are Army certified, so they are organic and can go right in the ground. And we're going to take our pot, our entire pot, and you can see all those roots there, see them? And we're just gonna drop it into the hole like so. Okay. Oh, and I almost forgot to remove those bottom 2 leaves like we had talked about on the other ones. And that is important, okay? It's a good part of the growing process. Now, later in the season, as we move on and things start growing more, we will talk about other things that you can do to get your tomatoes to grow. For instance, and I'll use this one to show you, you can see that it has several limbs, and some of these limbs may eventually get flowers and be fruit-producing limbs, but some of them may not as it grows. You can simply remove the limbs that aren't fruit-producing, so non-flowering limbs, and that will give your roots and the other limbs that are producers much more nutrients. From all of us here at the homestead, peace, happiness, salvation. Bye-bye.